what you call Websters Flooring, but then, Websters, do they, your flooring is carpets and tiles and the whole works?
Carpets, tiles, wood flooring, laminate flooring. We've got genuine imitation wood flooring as well, which is very popular these days. They call it vinyl.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Oh, I like that, back into vinyl, you know.
Very about popular. It's this stuff that you got on the floor here.
Yeah, this is
they make vinyl look like this. This is laminate.
Yeah, this is laminate. Yeah. So if it goes wrong, I'm coming.
From what I know, I mean, I haven't worked there for 5 years, but my wife, she runs the show, so she keeps me up to date with what's going on.
I'm sure you had to keep it. Well, so tell me now, is your wife taken over? She kicked you out, or what's the story?
You know, I've got a little daughter, about, let me just think, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
My wife came to me and she said, right, I've got a daughter who turns 9 on the 1st of February. My wife came to me and said, well, she's now coming back into the business.
Okay.
And it's very difficult to work every single day with your wife and still chat to her every day, and you can't divide work and business and your life and what have you. Well, so anyway, I said to her, well, why don't you find a job? She says, why don't you find a job?
So you were running it and then she's taken over?
Quite right, yes, quite right.
So she just came in.
She just came in and took over.
How to do it.
And my good friend Warren Jack,
yes,
who I've been speaking to for years, he'd always told me to come join him in the property industry. So I went and joined Warren Jack as a commercial broker.
So that's what you're doing at the moment?
That's what I'm doing at the moment.
Is the property stuff? Eh?
Yeah, I'm doing the property stuff. I've been with Warren for 5 years.
Wow, okay. But now
it's actually my anniversary on the 23rd.
Oh.
My wedding anniversary.
No, 3 days.
My wedding anniversary and my work anniversary at Warren Jack. So I'm expecting a gold watch, Warren, if you're watching.
You know, it's funny, my folks, my parents, they're long gone, but their wedding anniversary is 23rd as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is. Well, it is.
Well, I've got it right. Because I was at 24.
It was 1970, the 23rd of January, but I was born in August, so I was very, very prim.
I'm sure you were.
Yes.
You're 1970. Yes, 1970. The hippie days.
It was, you know, it was never Woodstock or anything like that.
Not at all.
Because there wasn't any of that Mickey naughty stuff happening then. No. But so Websters Flooring, when did you start that? When was that?
Whoa.
So you started that?
Oh, well, actually, it was my wife and myself that started it. Okay. I was born and bred in Port Elizabeth. Mm-hmm. Long time ago. I mean, I was a little baby at the time, so I can't remember what date it was exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I moved out. I was away for 15 years. I spent 5 years in Cape Town and then 10 years in Johannesburg.
Okay.
And we came back as agents for Dyke Carpets, and then we got into all sorts of different agencies like clothing and golf equipment and etc. etc. Because I always wanted to be my own boss.
Yeah.
And even with the agency business, you're not your own boss because you're reporting to someone that's phoning you every day. How's the sales going down there? How's the figures? Are you marketing here? Are you doing that? I thought, yes. And for Dyke then cut about 50% of their lines, and so then I decided then that it's time now to open my own business. So we basically went into retail. So that was about the year 1999, somewhere around
I think it often happens if you're doing an agency or something, you get to know the business.
Yes.
And then you kind of, you realize that if you were running your own business, you would be making more money. And also the guys that are running the agency they're okay as well because you're going to be selling their products.
But what you're doing is you're running agencies for corporates.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're doing well, you increase their market and what have you, but then they have to pay you big commissions.
Yeah.
So then they said, but if we're paying big commissions, we can open our own office for that kind of money. And so that's what happened. So we decided to do something for ourselves, and that's when Websters Flooring started.
And I mean, as an entrepreneur, doing that, we've got your headphones here as well, and I'll keep them over here. We've got some headphones because we've got some guests coming in just now as well. You know? Okay.
I thought you wanted me to sing.
No, not yet. Not yet. We'll keep them over there. And you know, so you know, as an entrepreneur, to make that the changeover is quite a stressful thing.
Yeah, it was quite stressful. I mean, we started in a bedroom in our house.
Okay.
In Main Road, Warmer. That's where we started, and one lounge became the showroom. Yes. And that's where it started, and then I got tired. I got out of it again because I went and worked at the golf club, and I'll tell you about that later. And my wife and my brother, eventually we built a showroom. Where we used to have 3 garages, and now it's the Websters Flooring showroom. And I still live in the same house next door.
And of course, during that time, Main Road Walmer was becoming more and more sort of a business zone.
Absolutely. That's exactly why we bought in Main Road Walmer. And we bought just at the right time, which is in the year 2000, before the property prices went up.
You're so right, yes.
Yeah.
So 2000, it went through a few.
So were you had finished school by then, eh?
Yeah, I was absolutely. I finished in '88.
Okay.
So I was buying, because I remember that property boom, because we also bought just before it. It went, and then we were able to sell again at a higher price and buy something else.
Absolutely.
So property is like that. It's you just never know when it's going to happen. Eh?
No,
I wish you did.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been working in the property game for 5 years now with Warren Jack, and it's a different game.
Yeah, those guys. I mean,
very different.
Ian Olivier,
things change all the time.
Ian Olivier and Warren Jack have been in that trade for like
many years. I mean,
40 years.
I was speaking to Warren the other night, and Warren's had 3 careers basically.
Yeah.
In his life, I've had many.
Yeah.
He's had 3, and he's been in the property business now for 30 years, 32 years. So.
We're going to chat to him. We're going to have him on I think next Thursday, in fact.
Really?
We're going to give him on. Yes. So Warren Jack is on next Thursday, guys, if you want to pop in as well. And, because I love the fact that it's entrepreneurial, and I think you are totally an entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, you've done so much. The Websters is just the tip of the iceberg with this stuff.
No, absolutely.
And so now you say property with Warren, and what kind of stuff?
We do commercial. I do commercial property. Warren Jack's got a commercial side, which is the big side, and he's got a residential side as well. But I'm in the commercial side of it.
Is commercial being hit now with the COVID thing? Is it? What's the story there now? Is it people are working from home?
People are working from home. But what's happening is that commercial, in terms of office space. There's an abundance of office space available because those people work from home. Yeah. But warehousing, retail, industrial, that's still going well.
Because warehousing you still need.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Warehousing you still need.
Especially the guys that are selling online. They just need a huge warehouse to put all their stuff, and then they send from there.
No, absolutely.
That's almost the only warehouse.
I mean, but you see what's happened. If you have a look at people like checkers now, you can just phone them and say, we'll be there in 60 minutes.
Yeah.
So they've got to have the stock. They've got to put it somewhere.
You've got to do it.
They've got to put it somewhere. Yeah.
So interesting that, and then you said you're born in PE.
Yes, I was born in PE. St Joseph's Hospital.
Oh, St Joseph's, not Sanford, eh?
No, St Joseph's.
You were going for the big time,
St Joseph's, which is now St George's. Yes. And my daughter was born at St George's as well.
Okay. Yes, my sons. I think my sons were both my sons were both St George's as well. No, I mean the a couple of hospitals at BE, but St Joseph's. I remember when you talking about St Joseph's. That was the Catholic hospital,
That's quite right.
Yeah.
I said I'll have none of that.
Yes, none of that, none of the other. and schools?
School, I went to Grey.
Oh, Grey.
Sub 8 to matric.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so proper Grey boy, huh?
Yes, proper
Look
Grey
at
boy.
that. Okay.
You know when someone's a grey boy, they tell you.
Yes. We've had many on the show.
I'm sure. Most probably about 80%. Most other schools don't learn to talk till they're 30.
Exactly. Well, look, Fires was there. I saw Mike saying I must look at your shoes because apparently you used to wear pointy shoes.
I've got a big collection of pointy shoes.
Really?
Yeah, you know what the good thing about those pointy, they were sharp like this.
Yeah.
And I always used to judge when I came, you dance, you can dance on your toe like this, and the pirouette and things like that.
There we go. Check his shoes. You used to throw them at the dart.
That's Fires is absolutely right. I used to get home at night, the dartboard was there, and I'd throw them at the board. And I'd wake up in the morning to see what my score was, to see how much I'd had to drink the night before.
Oh, no. No, that's magic, And you know what I'm thinking about? Do you remember, so were you quite a clubber then?
Yeah, big time.
Quite a clubber.
Big time. I was a massive jeweler.
And so did you go to study as well, or not?
You see, I made a big mistake, and I learned my lesson. It was like for me an aha moment.
Yes.
I matriculated when I was 17, but in those days you had to fill out your forms for conscription. So you either got called up in January or July.
Okay.
So if you filled in your papers, and I forgot to tell them that I wanted to go to varsity afterwards, so they called me up in July. So I had to go find a job for 6 months. And I worked for Sarah.
Sarah?
Did you know Sarah? South African Railways and Harbours.
Yes.
I was a wheel tapper. I was a wheel tapper. As the trains came by, I just...
Seriously?
No. I became a clerk at the railways for 6 months.
Wow.
And then I was called up. I was the last intake of 1 year.
Okay, that's like spoorweg.
In the Air Force, yeah, spoorweg.
Okay.
And I worked at the FC Sturrock building as a clerk.
Okay.
And if you went, what they did is, if you worked for them, then you had to come back and work for them for another 18 months. So I had 2 years working there. And then they paid you all your back pay from when you were I was in the Air Force. So they paid, so I had to work for them for 18 months afterwards.
Wow, okay.
And that's when I cut ties with them. And then during the time that I worked for them, for those 18 months afterwards, that's when I started DJing.
Okay, so you started DJing then, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that story, because that was a little story there.
Yeah, it was, I think the year was about 1976 or 1977.
Okay.
I was playing cricket for Warmer.
Yes.
Rufia's also played for. No, it's Warmer.
Warmer Country Club.
Warmer Country Club. In
Yes,
those days, it was a very prestigious club.
Oh, so you
I went and played there, and there was a guy by the name of Chris Egbrink.
Yes.
He was the manager at the Park Towers Hotel, and he played cricket in our side. And the Park Towers Hotel, they had a nightclub, a disco.
Yes.
Called the Hideaway.
Oh, wow.
The Hideaway was famous in the 70s.
Yes.
And I used to go there often, and they had this DJ that they imported from Johannesburg or someone. And they used to get 3-month gigs in those days. You know, even the bands where they went to play, it was 3 months. Like, 3 months it is American, and then you move somewhere else.
Yes.
Rhodesia and that. Yeah. So I said to Chris on the cricket field, well, after the cricket was sitting in the changing room, he was sitting next to me, and I said, "What you going to do now when this guy goes?" He says, "I don't know." I said, "Well, you know what? I'm a DJ."
But you weren't.
No, I wasn't. I was just interviewed. I was interviewed. I got my first 7 singles as a birthday present, I think when I was 11 years old, from my 3 older sisters. They each bought me 2 7 singles.
What did you get?
Run Joey Small. Do you know that? Run Joey Small. No, anyway.
I don't know Run Joey Small.
Oh, no, sorry. Quick Joey Small.
Oh, Quick Joey.
Quick Joey Small jumped over the wall with the ball and a chain behind him.
His wife.
Oobla-dee-oobla-da.
Oh, wow.
Beatles. Yeah, the Beatles.
Okay.
So that's when I really started my love affair with music.
Yes.
And I fancied myself as a bit of a dancer. I thought I could dance a bit. So I thought, and I always wanted to be a bit of an entertainer. You know, like you're an entertainer.
I like dancing as well. I did.
Yeah.
I was just to win the dancing competitions instead of 5. You know.
Instead of 5.
Yeah. Just to do that.
so anyway, so I went there and auditioned for a night. And in those days, you didn't have to mix anything. Okay. You just had to play the right tunes, and then I'd go up and say, "This is the Bee Gees, the 3 Gibbs brothers, and it's Staying Alive.
Staying alive, baby.
Come, people, let's dance together." And I got the job for 3 months.
He's such a DJ. I mean, look, even the way he's dressed now, he could be a DJ. It's a Staying Alive. That's a Staying Alive.
Yes, it's a fantastic. Yeah, so I got the job for 3 months, but I got fired just before the end of 3 months.
But now, where was this?
At the Park Towers Hotel.
Now that's the Hideaway. That was Park Towers Hotel. Is the tall building in Ring Street, where Standard Bank was as well.
Standard Bank was downstairs, and there was a magnificent restaurant across the way from the Park Towers called La Fontaine.
La Fontaine. I remember that.
It was one of the top restaurants in Portland, run by an Italian family.
Yes.
I can't remember the people's name.
Come on, they'll tell us in the comments.
Somebody will know.
Who knows who used to run La Fontaine? I remember, it was very fancy.
Very nice restaurant. Yeah. The barman there actually used to come to our nightclub, and used to give him special treatment.
So the Hideaway was across.
It was across. Actually, you walked around a U-shape, basically.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Okay.
And I got fired there because we had to close at 12 o'clock. But I was having the time of my life, so I didn't want to close. So old Chris, my cricket teammate, came and said, "You got to turn it off." So I said, "No, people are still here. We're still having fun." So he came and switched it. He came to switch off my thing, and I pushed him over by mistake.
Oh no! Attacking your boss is never going to be a good.
Yeah, so
Pochi, what's Pochi?
Pochi
or Poggi? Oh, Poggi! Oh, Mr. Poggi! Yes. Is it Mr. Poggi? Is that right? Is the Italian?
Poggi?
The Italian guy that
Poggi, yes.
Poggi, I think it's Poggi, that's right.
That's quite right, because eventually when I came back to Port Elizabeth, LaFontaine turned into a strip joint.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I see Victor Webby as well, Ian Walland says there.
Victor Webby, that's a thing.
Is it LaFontaine also Poggi? Yeah, okay.
Webby, that reminds me.
Oh, Webby was...
Webby, yes.
Okay, awesome. So, because I think it was, I remember Poggi, but that could have been later on as well, because I don't know if
Might have been, I'm not sure.
Yeah. And the ranch was just a few meters down the road. Yes,
that's quite right.
Wolfson, did you go to table 13?
Wolfie, I've got to tell you a story about Wolfie.
Yes.
Later. Should we do it now? No, do it now. Because, I mean, we get into my nightclub life, and Wolfie and I, we were in the same cricket side. We played at Warmer. When he was at Varsity was UPE, had very strong cricket section, and they used to have 2 teams in the Premier League, but they never played on Sundays.
Yeah.
So we had a Sunday league, and we were allowed to take some of those students and come play for Warmer.
Okay.
So Wolfie came and played in our side. Thanks.
Nice shirt, Garth, quite loud.
Thanks, Don. So Wolfie came and played with us, and by that stage I'd closed Golden Takkie, and I'll get back to that one. And I'd opened a new restaurant called Extension 1, and that was when Wolfie came to the nightclub with us on a Saturday night. And Wolfie showed us his party trick, which was to eat a beer glass.
Wolfie used to alive.
Wolfie used to eat beer glasses as a party trick. No wonder when he played cricket, he used to bowl so many wides. He thought he was bowling cutters.
I'm sure. I wonder what your colon looks like now, Wolfie.
No, that's all full of fish now. It's fish tails.
Oh, I see. Is that what he does?
Yes.
Oh man, you know, but you were talking about your dancing and stuff. Do you remember the place in Grey Street upstairs?
No, I was out of Port Elizabeth at that stage. That was about the mid-80s.
Yes.
I was living in Cape Town or Johannesburg.
Okay, because I remember a chap with pointy shoes that used to dance well.
Okay, no, it wasn't me.
So he was following in your shoe steps.
Might have been Sean Paul's.
Oh, it could be. It could have been Sean Paul's. Yeah. Sean Paul's is normally on. Yeah. Somebody tag Sean. If he's not on already, he should be here as well, because he's often on the show.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, Sean keeps the whole PE era from that time together with his Facebook site.
He does.
His Facebook group, he does a good job.
It's magic, and he's a lovely, lovely guy. And also, obviously, to do the Ritz at that time. But so you moved. Did you go from then? You were fired from the Hideaway?
Yes, the Hideaway. So I was fired from the Hideaway, and then my good friend Ricky Manor, who's Barbara Manor's brother-in-law, he said to me, "Garth, why don't we go open a nightclub somewhere?" So I said, "Geez, I wonder where we can do it." And at that stage, the Summerstrand Hotel, which is the old Summerstrand Hotel, which was the only building on the coastal side of Marine Drive. It's now a block of townhouses. Summerseas, yeah. That was the Summerstrand. Yes. And during the Christmas period, every year they used to open up a place called the Carousel.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was mid-January, and they had just closed down, and we decided to go see, Ricky and myself decided to go see old Slimnowski, I think his name was, the owner of the hotel.
Okay.
To say, why don't you let us open a nightclub here?
Yeah.
So anyway, so Ricky and myself went there.
Okay.
We weren't prepared as youngsters, we weren't really prepared. And we went there, and it's the case of bullshit baffles brains somehow. And we went and we sat in his office on Slim, and he said, "Well, what you got to offer me?" So I said, "Well, I'm a DJ. I've got everything. I've got a disco,
got the sound.
I've got all of the stuff.
The records.
All we'll do is you take all the bar money, and we take the entrance fee money."
Yeah.
So it's perfect. And what's your nightclub called? I mean, what's your disco called? He said, Jeez, we hadn't thought of a name. And I was sitting there and I had a pair of golden Takkies on.
Yeah.
And I looked down at my Takkies, it's a golden Takkie. And then it became the name Garth's Golden Takkie. And I still get people calling me Takkie today and shouting Golden Takkie. And that was in about 1979.
Gee, was it?
Yeah. So then so I said, when would you like to open? And this was about the Tuesday. I said, well, we could open next week Friday.
Yeah.
Because it's only going to be Fridays and Saturdays.
Oh, right.
It's Fridays and Saturdays.
All right.
So, no, that's perfect, Joe. We said it was a handshake.
Yeah.
Off we go. I turned around to Ricky and said, okay, we've got the gig.
Yeah.
We don't have turntables.
Oh.
We don't have speakers.
Nothing. You got nothing.
We don't have lights.
Yes, you said you got everything. You got bugger all.
Yeah, we got records. All I've got is my records. So anyway, we bought a turntable desk and what have you, and we had to now decorate this whole place.
Was that double turntable back then?
Yeah, double turntable. Yeah.
You got to put one on and then mix. Did you have a mixer in between or not?
Those days, yeah, there was a bit of a mixer, but they never used to mix much. In those days, you'd like play something like
you just fade in.
Amy Stewart, Knock on Wood. You know?
Yes.
Knock on wood. Yeah. So anyway, and so we say, now what are we going to do? So I said, we go and we bought this desk. And I said, I've got an idea. Another friend of ours, Vince Lewis.
Yes, Vince. Musician, bass player.
You know Vince, yeah, bass player.
Absolutely, I saw him in Cape Town not so long ago.
And he had speakers. But he didn't have like half, he had his normal music. One big one and one big one, and they were different sizes. And we asked him if we could borrow his speakers for the opening night.
Good old Vince.
So we borrowed the speakers. Then we had to get disco lights flashing on and off. Yes. Luckily, Ricky was a electrician, so he knew how to sort that out. But we had to get decoration. So what we did, or what Ricky did, because my hands...
Did you get those long, thick cables with bulbs on them?
No, something similar to that. What happened, I mean, my wife's the handyman in the house. She's got all sorts of tools. She's a beautiful woman. I mean, she looks after everything. If there's a bolt loose, she'll unscrew the thing and what have you. Yeah. And so we took coffee tins.
Yeah.
We painted them black.
Like Frisco.
Yeah, big ones like this paint. And we put the different colour lights and bulbs inside the coffee tin and joined the electrical cable and stuck it on the ceiling. Now we just couldn't have that.
Yeah.
Because it's just, it's empty, so nothing. So in those days... Jesus, this is a long story.
No. So, you're actually taking a flat chance here.
No, we're taking a big chance. So the milk bottles used to be milk bottles, and they used to have those foil tops on.
Yes.
And those foil tops,
dairy.
Yes, those foil tops came off a machine, a long strip like this, and they just used to punch the hole, and you used to get this long strip of foil with a hole in it.
Oh right.
So we got rolls and rolls of that, and we hung it on the ceiling.
I've seen that. I wondered where it came from. It's a bloody milk.
Yeah, we hung that on the ceiling, and that's where I dig it. And the lights were above that, and then we got a mirror ball and a smoke machine, and that strobe light, So we got that, and we got it up and going. It was a huge success.
Well, and so you got it's coming, eh?
Yeah, Jesus, it was a huge success.
So
went on for many years, and then
the Golden Takkie.
The Golden Takkie,
and it made you some money.
Yeah, it did. It made us some money. I mean, Ricky and myself lived like millionaires. We used to have breakfast, lunch, and supper out every day.
Squandering your money.
Absolutely. Easy come, easy go. And we were having a lot of fun at the same time. Yeah, I was 20. I was about 21. 21 years old.
21 years old.
Yeah.
And why did you shut down?
What?
When did you finish that? Did it just fade out?
We got raided by the police.
I knew it. It's going to be booze.
Yeah, serving liquor to underage people. But I think maybe...
underage?
Yeah, so someone would have... I think someone might come on and speak about that.
But that wasn't your thing. That was the
yes, but that's why Slim made us shut down.
Oh, you see.
Because we were letting the underage people into the door.
Oh, I see.
We were letting the underage people.
so Slim shut them down. They're letting it in. Yeah. All right, put on your headphones. We've got we got somebody for you. Warren Jack's in the house.
Warren's just arrived at the right time.
He's arriving here right now. Warren, how's it? How you doing?
Hi guys, how's it? Afternoon, man. How's it going?
Lekker, man, lekker. I'm glad you could make it. We decided to have a few of Garth's friends just to pop in and give him a bit of surprise and rev him a bit.
Hello, boss.
Hello, Garth. Nice shirt, my brother.
Thank you.
Oh man, Warren, have you got any stories about this man? Yeah.
Well, I'm listening now, and I mean, the Garth's golden Takkie scenario. The underage,
Yes.
Unfortunately, the underage person was me.
Really?
Yeah, what had happened? I mean, I was much younger than Garth. And I
Yes.
still am.
He was.
Yeah.
And Garth, as you've heard, he opened up his club and everything was going well. And I needed
Yes.
to get there. And I was literally turning 18 in about 2 weeks' time, but I couldn't wait any longer. And I played Garth, come on, Garth, come on. And I played soccer with him. That's why I knew the older guys.
Okay.
So eventually I sneaked in. I think Garth, I can't remember if it was Claude from Kersport that was with me or Carl Belmaster.
I was trying to think of it today. Yeah.
And it was one of them. And anyway, we were sitting there, and of course, we were there first in the nightclub, get the best seat. We sit down, and music starts, Garth starts, and he's quite right. That Knock on Wood song is still in my head to this day.
Yes.
He loved
Love
it.
it.
Yeah, but
I love
the thing
it.
with Garth, he would play songs that would literally get people going immediately the minute you walked into the club.
Yes.
And anyway, I mean, we all go to nightclubs to dance. Anyway,
Yes,
we got
yes.
there, and of course, we're much younger, and we're there, and we smooth with our best kit on. And the next minute, all the lights go on. And I looked at Carl or Claude, whoever it was, and I said, "What's going on?" Disappointed. The next minute, I saw these blue uniforms, stars on the shoulders, and Ricky Manning running around with his vein popping out of his neck. Whenever he got stressed out. And I was Garth somewhere in the distance, and the cops come to my table.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, the cop looked down at me and he said to me, "How old are you?" So I said, "I'm 18. He said, "What's your name?" I said, "Tommy Pullen." And that was a guy I went to school with in Johannesburg when I grew up, because I came to PE when I was about 14. But anyway, so he was my mate in Joburg. So I just said, "Tommy Pullen." And I'll never forget, the cop said to me, he said, "Come with me now, we're going to your parents' house." I said, "No, Warren Jack 17. Next minute I was down at the law courts with Garth and Slim and Ricky and all of them. But I don't know what happened.
I give up.
Sorry, Warren Jack 17. Never mind Garth's nightclub.
This business is the whole business is gone.
Yeah, as I said, it ended up in court, but obviously didn't go through the procedure because I think Slim and Ricky and the judge and Garth made an arrangement or something. They just came out and said, "Okay, that's it, the club's closed."
Yes.
So
That is so funny. Thanks to you, Warren Jack.
Indeed.
You could have been a millionaire. He was living like a king.
I remember, it was about 100 years ago. I mean, it's cost me $2.50. But
There you go.
And then also with Garth, something that always sticks in my mind, and we still laugh to it these days. As Garth says, he was in the music industry and he came down to Port Elizabeth and obviously got to know one or two guys. And Garth being quite a player and running around and hooked onto me, or I hooked onto him, and all of a sudden we were mates. And he introduced me to golf. So he was in the music industry those days. He had a Mazda 323 with a hatchback at the top.
Another one, the square one.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It looked more like a sand shot. Anyway.
Yeah.
You lift the hatchback up, and in the back there was two speakers. I mean, the size of these speakers I think they were worth more than the car. So what do you do? I was sitting at Alex School, and if you sit in at about, now Garth had always wanted to play golf, but he's a rep, so he's got time on his hands. I'm at school.
Yes.
So, the next minute I get a ping ding of the alarm. The principal calls out, "Warren Jack, come to the office, please." So I get to the office. They say, "Listen, your uncle's passed away." So I said, what do you mean your uncle's passed? He said, your uncle's passed away, but your other uncles had to let you go, Uncle God. I got outside, get in the car, and off we go. And that car would be pumping with that song, Hollywood God, remember?
Gino Washington, Hollywood, yes.
Is it Gino Washington?
And yeah, you are.
There we go. Gino Washington. I'm going to have to go and look up that song now.
I tried to look up that song today. Gino Washington. Yeah. There's a lot of Gino Washington, but that Hollywood song, nowhere to be found.
Is it?
But I'll sing it for you later.
We drive down that 3rd Avenue dip. And those days the road wasn't as good as it is now. And God had this Hollywood song playing. Remember, HOLLYWOOD, Hollywood.
Hollywood. Just like I pictured it.
Yeah,
and there you go. Bereavement for your uncle. I can't believe you're lying bastards. Thank you, Warren.
Be good in the property game.
Excellent. And we'll see you next Thursday, Warren. You're in the studio next Thursday. We'll have a good chat about your history as well.
Right, thanks a lot, guys.
Well, hopefully, Garth's got some embarrassing stories about you as well. So we'll check next week.
Yeah, I've got quite a few.
Thanks, Warren.
Thanks, Wogsy.
Oh my word, yeah. I don't know if we're gonna. We're talking a little more about, but that's that's very funny. So you closed down your club.
Yeah, well, he closed down the club, so that's what happened. And Warren came in just at the right time there to tell the story about how the club was closed down. And Slim didn't want to take any more chances of losing his liquor license, because in those days it was strict, you know.
Yeah.
Very, very strict. Yeah. So that closed down.
Okay.
But
and after that?
After that...
So you were out of work? I mean,
No. What had happened during that time, I had the nightclub. I'd left the railways by this time.
Okay.
I'd left Sarah. She was devastated.
I'm sure she was.
She was devastated.
So
anyway, and what I did is I worked at Gatsby's clothing shop on Saturday mornings. Gatsby's was the Ralph brothers. Gatsby's eventually turned into Niels.
Jeff
Adamy and Niels used to work at Gatsby's. And they then opened their own shop called Niels in Grace Street, right next to where Michael's Record Bar.
Yes, Michael's Record Bar, because of course that was the father of
Mike Simmons. Yeah. Stompy's dad. Yes, Michael, lovely guy.
And to a DJ.
Yes,
that's his sister. As well. They had Michael's Record Bar.
Yes, quite right. He was a lovely guy, Michael. He was very theatrical and artistic, and he always used to act in the plays in Port Elizabeth at the Opera House and what have you.
Elise Fish.
Yes, that's the one. Where is she? I haven't seen her.
She's in Joburg. She was on the show. I love her.
She used to work with Stephen Bishop a lot.
Yes, the Bish and the Fish.
Yeah, the Bish and the Fish. That's right. And so then I decided, no, well, I've got this on Friday and Saturday nights. I work there on Saturday mornings at Gatsby's selling clothes, because clothing has been a big passion of mine all my life.
I see.
It's clothing, music, and sport.
Love it.
That's my life.
Love it.
And my wife, of course. And my wife, and my daughter was saying hello just now, Ruby. Hello, Ruby. How are you, my darling? Ruby Olive Webster.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, there's. And so anyway, then I decided now I needed to look for a job. So I went to an employment agency.
Yeah.
And she asked me, this lady, she was very nice in Main Street, Port Elizabeth, Govan Becky,
yeah. Queen Street originally, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And I went there on the 3rd floor, and she said, wow, you're into your music, you're DJing, and there's a guy in town right now that's looking to employ an area sales rep to run the P office in the music industry.
Okay.
The music industry was selling records, tapes, and 7 singles.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, let me phone him and see if I can get you an interview. So she phoned him. I went for the interview. I walked in to his office. It was in the old Mutual building on the 6th floor.
Wow.
Above that, CNA was, yes. The CNA. On the 3rd floor was Carlo's Coffee Bar, which was our big hangout in the 70s.
It wasn't the one on the bridge across?
No, that was in...
later on.
Yeah, that was later on.
Yeah.
And I walked in there, and the guy's name was Peter Cook.
Okay.
And I've got a lovely story to tell about Peter Cook. Peter Cook, I walked in and there was Peter Cook. I sat down, had an interview with him, and he asked me what school I went to. Obviously, that's one of the questions I asked you. I said, I went to Grey. He says, well, he's a Grey boy as well.
Oh, well, there we go. The secret handshake.
I said, well, I've got this one. I've got this one. And he asked me if I was a member of Old Grey because he had been out of Port Elizabeth for about 15 years.
Okay.
He said, well, I said, yes. He said, can you take me to Old Grey later? So I said, fine. I said, what time are you going to be finished, Joe? He said, 4 o'clock. I said, come. Yeah.
The bloody boys' club stuff in the 70s.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so what they say, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I got back there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, taking Old Grey, and he told me, okay, you've got the job and you start next week or whatever. So that's how I got into the music industry.
Okay.
So
what company was that?
RPM Record Company.
RPM, absolutely.
Yeah, RPM Record Company. It was owned by a guy called Matt Mann.
Okay.
Matt Mann in those days was one of the 10 richest men in South Africa. So I got that job, and we went to the Old Grey, had a few drinks, but Peter Cook.
Was he related to Manfred Mann, maybe?
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't actually. No, he wasn't.
Just had a thought.
Yeah.
Okay, so Matt Mann.
Yeah, Matt Mann, and so I started working there.
Yeah.
And the story about Peter Cook is that a couple of years later, it must have been a year and a half later, him and Martin Locke, I don't know if you remember Martin
Locke, who used to Pop Shop.
Pop Shop,
yes.
And Martin Locke was the head buyer for C&A Records.
No way.
Throughout South Africa.
No wonder there's always Martin the Pop Shop.
That's quite right. So he was the head buyer, and Martin Locke and Peter Cook were the first guy to bring the rebel cricket tours into South Africa.
Wow.
Mike Gatting's side, I think they must have come in about 1983.
Jeff Boycott.
I don't know. Was Jeff Boycott? Yeah, he might have been.
Yeah.
He might have been.
Also one of the rebel tours, I think.
So that was about 90.
And the bowler, what's his name? Both of them. Both
of them never came on one of those rebel tours. So it was Mike Gatting's side. The first year, Peter Cook and Martin Locke were the guys that brought the end. So he was my boss at that stage, Peter Cook. And about 18 months later, Peter Cook then resigned from the company, and I moved up to Johannesburg.
Oh wow!
Yeah, with the record company. But before I did that, I'd also opened up a new nightclub in Port Elizabeth.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Because old Cliffy Francis owned the Ritz. It was either he owned the Ritz and the Village Green.
Yeah. Okay.
And it wasn't doing what it would, what it should. So anyway, Cliffy, we went to Ricky and myself again.
Yeah.
Ricky Mann and myself went and spoke to Cliffy and said, why don't we just divide your place in half? It was massive. It was a massive. I mean, the mirror ball was this size. I think it had the biggest mirror ball in South Africa.
We saw a photo of that when he came on. I think we had a mirror ball.
And I said, why don't... And I DJ'd there a few times as well. I used to sit high up on the DJ box, which I didn't like because it was a long way to go to the dance floor.
Yes. I saw some photos of that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
So, why don't... The club's not going that well. Let's split it down the middle, and we'll have a club on this side, and you have your club on that side. So Cliffy said, but how are we going to have 2 clubs? I said, Cliffy, you close at midnight. We'll open at midnight.
Oh, my soul. So, what kind of business model is that?
Yeah, so it was a great business model.
Yeah.
So we put up some shutterboard down the middle.
Yeah.
He closed at midnight. All his patrons then went around the door, walked around the block. This was in Everett Street. Walked down the next set of stairs, and they came to our door, and they had to pay to get into our nightclub.
Pay twice.
Yeah. So and we had that, and that we used to stay open from about midnight till the last person left, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning.
That's insane.
Yeah, 6 o'clock. Sometimes I'd get home at close up at 5:30 in the morning, and then we still used to go across the road to Its Country.
To
have a brekkie.
Yes.
And then go home.
So that was Storky back then.
That was Storky.
Storky was still doing that. Yes. It's country.
Yeah. And then I was playing cricket and soccer during this time. I was playing cricket for Warmer and soccer for Caddies.
Okay.
And finish at 6 o'clock in the morning. Then I have to go open the bowling for Warmer Country Club at like 10:30. So not much sleep was that. So I was at
Hell's bells.
And that also eventually got closed down. We were raided by the police for selling illegal booze.
Of course it was.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
now it was, you had to do those, and that's when Cliffy went to jail, I think.
No, Cliffy never went to jail. It wasn't Cliffy's fault.
He did,
But he went to jail for something that he did. Might have been, yes, it was connected with our place. That's right. It was connected with that whole thing. But what happened is we were advised. We had like some inside information that the cops were coming.
Oh, so you got a tip or you didn't tell Cliffy?
No, we didn't tell. I'll tell you. So, my mate Kelly Chandler's running the door.
Okay.
So Kelly says, no, there's something going on here. So you should take all the money and then run the bar as well, and you go buy a 6-pack and you pay. So what the cops did is they mark a note. They put so if you put it under a fluorescent light, it shines.
Oh.
So they know that's the note they paid with, so you're selling booze illegally.
Yes, okay.
Kelly suspected something.
Okay.
So he said to Barbara's late husband.
Yes, Ricky.
Apple.
Okay.
He said, Apple, just keep this in your pocket without telling him why, because there was a big commotion going on. The lights, the music had turned off, the lights were on, and the guys are now looking in the till for this note. And so Apple walks there, he's been outside for a cigarette or something, and he walks in, says, what's going on here? And the cop says, no, I'm looking for this 20 rand note or whatever it is. So Apple says, hey, is this the one?
No.
So Apple got arrested. He had nothing to do with it at all. He got arrested, so we had to eventually close that club. So we had to close that club.
Close it as well.
Yeah.
Now talk about your sporting, because the cricket, as you're talking about cricket now,
yes,
as well, and I know we've got a couple of guests covered as well, and I know it a bit to do with cricket as well.
Yes,
but I don't know when Gary wants to bring our next guest in. Yeah. I think Bryce Taken is here, and Bryce, can you hear us, Bryce?
Hey, yeah,
excellent.
Can you hear me, Gina?
You know, you made me think of cricket when I come out with the Dakins, you know. We're talking about cricket.
How are you, Brassy? All right. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Garthy. Garthy was an unbelievable bowler. He was so accurate, he hit the middle of the bat every time.
Was his bowling not as good as he's putting out here?
No, he was actually, pretty much like Warren. I'm younger, so, you know, we couldn't do the Is Americas. My brother and my sister were older. They used to do the Hardaways and the Is Americas and the Garth's Golden Takkie, and we were just that little notch a bit younger that we couldn't quite get there, you know.
Yes.
But we used to hear a lot of stories about Garth and his cricket, and as he says, he is, if you want to go and do any sports trivia, take him on your team.
Yeah.
If you want to do any music trivia, you will win the evening, guaranteed.
Oh, really?
And
he's the one.
Yeah, no. Being a music rep in the old days, he is on top of his game. And then fashion as well. I mean, the fashion. There's some guys that can just pull it off, and there are others that can't. You know, so you know, if I had to try and dress in Garth's gear, I mean, putting those pants on, they're like a 1-star hotel. They got no ballroom. But Garth he's a fashion guru, and you know, I met Garth properly when he came back from Joburg to PE. We were all playing golf at Humewood in those days. We had a tour called the Hook and Shank golf tour, a whole bunch of Humewood guys. That must have been going for 30 years. This tour. It actually reminds me, Garth. I don't think we've toured because of COVID for 1 or 2 years. You got to get Ian Riley to get that golf tour rejuvenated before we forget about it.
Yes.
But we used to go all over the country on annual golf tour, and we went to Cape Town once. I'll never forget. And Ian Riley had arranged a lovely B&B, or just off the main strip in Camps Bay there, that we could settle into. On the opening night we had a bra. And chief, as things got going, but I was the youngest guy on the tour. Garthy wasn't the youngest, but he was certainly the youngest at heart. And and like the chap said, oh, well, guys, now we're winding up. And Garthy and I were just not winding up, And then we decided to head down to the strip, the main camp space strip there, and it was incredible because we walked into a place, and if I'm correct, Garth, I think Goldfish were making their debut evening.
The quite right, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You remember?
Oh, good.
It was next to the old Blues restaurant.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Next to the old Blues restaurant, and we watched them debut, and they were pretty phenomenal. And when we left there, we were nicely juiced up. And Garth, having an ear for nightlife, he just picked up this bass somewhere, a bass going down. And so we gravitated toward this place, and it was phenomenal. It was a pizza joint, but it had a full-blown sort of nightclub party place next to it. It was a place called Dizzy's. And Garthy and I pulled in there, and I don't know what happened, but we got this place heaving. Garthy hit the dance floor, and he was as good as John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever with those pointy shoes. He was unbelievable. The barman enjoyed us so much, he gave us free drinks for the entire evening.
Hey, yo!
I said to him, listen, we need to pay. He said, listen, yeah, you're actually a good company. Just stick around. The dops are on the house. You remember that, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, what kind of dancer do you need to be to do that?
No, Garthy got the place going. I've got two left legs, so I battled to dance. But Garthy made up for my inefficiencies.
Phenomenal.
That's it.
Yes,
Brilliant.
Sir. No, brilliant. Bryce, thank you, man.
I started sport at a young age, under 10, playing cricket and rugby at Grey.
Okay.
Then it just carried on from there. Then I got a serious neck injury, so I couldn't play rugby anymore.
Oh, okay.
So when I was under 15, I was a hooker.
Oh, yeah?
No, unlike my sister. so anyway, so I couldn't scrum down. I dislocated a vertebrae in my neck in standard 8.
Crikey.
So I had to give up rugby.
Jeez, man, so it must have been a bad injury.
Yeah, it was a bad injury. I was in traction. It was so bad, as a matter of fact, I never had to write my matric. My standard 8 finals.
Yo.
They just put me straight through.
Were you playing against Worskell, Frisbee or something?
No, it wasn't even on the rugby field.
Oh, really?
It was in the diving pool.
Oh, my word.
So what used to happen in the diving pool, someone would go off the top board and make a bomb drop, and then you'd dive through the splash.
Oh.
Okay,
Oh.
this guy came up too quickly and I connected his head.
Oh.
Our heads connected and so I ended up in hospital on traction. So I gave up, and then I started playing soccer at Westview.
Okay.
So that's where my soccer life started.
Yeah.
So we played, and in about 1975, just before I went to the Air Force, I joined Callies, and we played in the Premier League in Callies, in 1975.
So that's like serious soccer, eh?
Yeah, and then I played my last Premier League game in 1999. So I had 24 years of playing. I maintained quite a lot,
I mean, did you travel a lot with that?
It's local Premier League. So it was and Cape. When I was living in Cape Town and when I was living in Johannesburg, it was local.
So that's a serious league as well.
Yeah. No, it's very good soccer. I mean, out the Eastern Cape, Philip Pneumatikakis was on there just now.
The Greeks are always involved.
My fabulous friend Philip, who I've known since I was 10 years old. And he played professional soccer. He was a goalkeeper. He was called Ox. He's still called Ox.
Yes.
Yeah. So he was a soccer player. But the biggest game of soccer I ever played was when I was in Cape Town in 1986.
Yeah.
The World Cup, I think, was in Mexico that year. So Cape Town, they used to have a big international league where there was Spain played, Portugal played, Israel played, Holland, Germany, Scotland, England.
Wasn't that the hand of God? Was that Maradona's hand of God? 86? Mexico?
And so my coach at that stage was a guy called Danny Cameron.
Yeah.
And there was no Ireland side.
Okay.
So Danny put together an Irish side. So we played. And we were the outright least favourite to win this whole competition. And we got through and we played in the final in front of about 5,000, 10,000 people at the Greenpoint Stadium, and we won the final.
Wow.
So that was a great...
Such a winner.
Yeah, it was a great time, yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
And there was... tour to Beijing? What
yes, that? No, that was cricket.
Oh, was that cricket?
That was cricket, yeah. Cricket, yeah.
All right.
Cricket, started playing 1977, I think it was. I was playing for Warmer Country Club also.
Okay.
And then I finished my last game for Old Grey in about the year 2000.
Okay.
And the whole Beijing trip was, it's my mate Billy Preston. His name's David Preston, but we call him Billy after the keyboardist that played with the Beatles.
Yes, they played on Get Back.
Yeah. Can I just pull myself?
Yes, please.
So, anyway.
I'm going to try some of this brandy. You can finish that. There we go. Casey is finishing your brandy and your gin. So I'm going to use brandy for this.
Very nice, Casey. Casey, I've known since we were like 6 years old. I was about 6 years old when I met Casey. Yeah. At the Union Blues Club.
There we go.
His dad and my dad were big mates.
Okay.
So we've known each other for a long time.
He's all over the place.
Yeah. So anyway, in 1981, I was playing cricket in Johannesburg. It was my first stint in Johannesburg. I was in the music industry at that stage with RPM Records. I'd been promoted when Peter Cook left. They brought me up.
And you were talking about David Essex and that whole thing as well.
I toured South Africa with David Essex when he came to do his live shows in South Africa. And I was with the record company and David Essex.
The Dream Machine. It was just before the Dream Machine, I think.
It was after the Dream Machine.
Oh, was it after?
After the Dream Machine. It was Winter's Tale.
Only a winter's tale. It was quite the model.
Yes. He's a very pretty boy, and I made good friends with his bodyguard, Bev.
Oh, really?
Bev. Now, David used to come in afterwards.
Bev, the man, Bev.
Bev, yeah, he's a guy. Yeah. I've known 2 Bev men in my life. 3, sorry.
Yeah.
And his name was Beverly. Actually, Beverly.
Yeah.
And so I befriended Beverly, and the first night we get there, and after the show, there's a chicks all over the show.
Oh, really?
All over David.
Yes, of course.
So Bev says to me, Garth, come here, stand with me. What happens is, like, David will have 1 or 2 just now sort of start speaking, and those others will want to speak to other people. Of course they do. He was a wonderful man, Bev, great character. So but that tour was absolutely magnificent.
Yeah,
I mean, going around with David Essex was a big one.
No, he was huge at that time.
Yeah, and the other one was Geraldine. The Irish lass that came out.
Yes, I remember it.
We made her famous in South Africa. She was not famous anywhere else.
In South Africa. I was going to ask her.
A bit like Rodriguez, who was also on a record label.
Yeah, there were a couple of them that were only famous here.
Chris de Berg.
The guys go overseas and they talk about. And remember Geraldine? And nobody's like, no, I don't remember.
No, quite right. It's like Chris de Berg, his Spanish Train and Other Stories was. Famous in South Africa. The song that made Chris de Berg famous internationally was
Don't Pay the Ferryman.
No, it was after that red dress. What's it called?
The Lady in Red.
The Lady in Red. Yes.
Oh, so that was only after that.
Yes, he wasn't famous.
So he was famous here with Spanish Train.
Yeah, Spanish Train. But what happened is Spanish Train. The song actually got banned.
Oh. In
South Africa because it had to do with making a deal with the devil.
Shot on.
And Patricia the stripper was also banned. In South Africa. So we changed the name from Spanish Train and Other Stories to Lonely Sky and Other Stories.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's what
that's the whole Afrikaner Broerbond stories.
So to get back to 81, when I was in the music industry up there in Johannesburg, and I was playing cricket for Wanderers.
Yeah.
And we...
wow.
So this is when while I'm speaking about Beijing. Cricket.
Yes.
That's the first time I came across Clive Rice playing cricket in 1981. And in those days, they had just started paying cricketers to go join different clubs. So we played against Bedford View, and they had bought quite a few big players. And the opening bowlers were Clive Rice and Rupert Spook Handley.
Spook Handley?
Yeah.
Wasn't he EP as well?
Yeah, he played. He also went to Grey.
Yes.
Yeah. And they were the opening bowlers. And at that stage, Ricey was the quickest.
Okay, yes.
Around. He was dangerous to face.
All right.
He was dangerous. I remember we had a guy in our side, his name was Cameron Bocchiglione, Cameron was famous for being the 12th man for the mean machine, the Transvaal mean machine the most times, because he was a great fielder.
Okay.
He was a very good all-round cricketer, but he was a great fielder.
Yeah.
And Rossi broke his arm in that 1981 game.
Holy moly.
And,
batting or what?
Batting, yeah, he was batting and struck him on the arm like this.
Crap, how hard is it going to
No.
You'll break your freaking bone.
No, the cricket ball's a hard thing, eh?
And they didn't wear helmets in those days?
No, we very soon found some helmets for that particular game. And I'll tell you the story about Gavin Carty. So anyway, we go there, and I was a bowler.
Yeah.
I used to think I was quick as hell, but I wasn't quick as hell. I mean, I had the longest run up there. Those guys used to say to me, just now we're going to have to open the side screen, put a door in the side screen so you can start your run up. So anyway, I get into bat.
Yeah.
And I found a helmet somewhere. It's like, I think it could have even been a motorbike helmet. Put it on my head. And I went to face, and there was Spook Hadley bowling from the one side. I batted 9, 10, 11. That's where I made all my runs when I played cricket, when I batted run. Because that's the only place I batted.
Yeah.
So, and I faced Spook, and it was, he was quick.
Yeah.
But he wasn't dangerous. Spook swung the ball away, and yes, I went to the other side, and there's Rossi steaming in. Yeah, that was quick.
So facing's Clive Rice, that's quite a thing.
That was quick. I mean, in those days, the league cricket was just magnificent. You played against all the top players. I played against Graham Pollock, Fiers van Vuren, Kepler Wessels, Flam Micho. So I played. That was the thing that I got the most pleasure out of the sport, that I got to test myself against all these top guys who actually played international sport.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I go out there to bat. Now Rice's bowling. I've got this helmet. I can hardly see through the thing. It's the first time I've worn a helmet in my life. And I go there, and I play a forward defensive, and ball hits the middle of my bat.
Okay.
They all go up for LBW. Shout, out! Umpire sticks me.
What?
Yeah!
In your bat?
Oh, in the middle of the bat!
Ah, come on.
But it was quick. It's a frightening experience. I put my bat under my arm. I quickly walked off. I walked past the umpire and I said, "Thank you very much."
I don't want to face another one.
So that's when I met Rossi. And many years later, in about 1990, I was captain the Old Janian cricket side, and Rossi went to Old Johnny, St. John's, St. John's in Johannesburg.
Okay.
And he came and played for us. We got him to play for us at Old Janians.
Yeah.
And 1991 was the reintroduction of South Africa into
international cricket.
International cricket. We were going on the tour to India.
Indian tour.
And Bryce's father, Jeff Dakin.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. Jeff Dakin had a lot to do with us getting reintroduced to world cricket. It was before Nelson Mandela was free, but it was just at that stage. So that
the
was
Olympics
our first
they were
tour.
allowed, I think, as well.
Yeah. So anyway,
any one of these.
While I'm talking,
do you want a grapefruit tonic or
the grapefruit tonic sounds good.
Grapefruit is very good.
So we were playing at the Old Janian field. The Old Janian complex was magnificent, the great sports club, and we played at the lower field, and you walk down about 50 steps to get to the field. And we're in the field in the afternoon, and it's now about 3:15. And the next minute, those days there's no DSTV.
Yeah.
All the SABC trucks start arriving at the Old Janian cricket field. So I'm thinking to myself, what's that? As I say, I know what's happening. Clive Rice has been chosen as the captain to take the touring side to India.
Yes.
So every cricket match, the guys will tell you, tea time's 20-4.
Yeah.
So 20-4, I'm leading the troops off the field. And the cameras come in. So anyway, and I'm walking, and they walk straight past me. I go to Clive.
Yes, of course.
Where you guys going? So he got made captain. So we played cricket together there. And then my friend Billy from China.
Yeah.
He's not from China. He's from Port Elizabeth.
Yes.
I met Billy when he was 9 years old at the Methodist Church.
In Warmia?
No, in Newton Park.
Oh, Newton Park.
Yeah, we went to Guild.
Oh yes, the Guild is always for the youngsters.
And He was in China, and what they were trying to do in China is to get cricket as a sport, a national sport in China. And if the government said the schools had to play it, they had to play it. So they organised the International Cricket Sixes competition in China.
Oh, I see.
So there's Pakistan, there was Australia, there was England, there was India, there was China, there was Japan. But it wasn't a top of the range.
Yeah.
The Japan side was their best side because Japan was such a small country.
Okay.
And I was a bit over the hill at that stage. I was 1995, so I was 38 years old. Rasi was about 6-7 years older than me. And we were both past our best.
Yeah.
And we went to China
Yeah.
on the six-a-side cricket tour. What a trip. What a magnificent trip. Rasi, rest in peace, my dear friend, old Clive Rice.
Yeah.
And Luke Fairweather is a very good cricketer.
Yeah.
Tony Middleton, good cricketer. And we were there. I was the MC for the whole tournament.
Okay.
And the Chinese Minister of Sport.
Oh, wow.
He came there and made a speech. And so I was the MC for the whole do. And Ricey was the guest speaker.
Okay.
And the questions, they threw, Jesus, it was magnificent. Absolutely fantastic.
It sounded a fantastic thing. I mean, China also is just so massive.
Massive. You would have loved it. We go to, at that stage in Beijing, they had the biggest hard rock cafe in the world.
Okay.
Keith Richards' guitar.
Is it?
Casey
would have loved that.
2,000 people inside the Hard Rock Cafe.
Gee whiz.
Yeah.
It
was absolutely magnificent. Yeah.
Listen, we got a message while we're here as well from. We got a message from one of your mates. Who was it again? It's from Billy.
Yes,
Billy in China.
China from China.
Stick on your headphones. Let's have a quick listen.
Yeah, okay.
And
What
a pleasure to be speaking to you from Shanghai, China, a country that you visited on numerous occasions and brought great joy to the 3 cricketing fans in China. But it's Dave, a mate of yours for forever and ever. Our relationship started at the Methodist Church, 9 years old, where we joined everything possible that involved choir girls. And I'll never forget that this continued, I guess, until very recently. My question, Bud, revolves around your altruism, which I always found absolutely fascinating. I mean, when I lived opposite you in Cape Town, I'll never forget the joy and the love that you show to the underprivileged, the less fortunate, the dregs. And so my question today is, what made you continuously build up people like Roger, your brother, and of course that magnificent woman, Jane, which I think you rebuilt 3 or 4 times as I watched from my balcony. So could you tell us what leads you to favor the underdog? What leads you to love that person that probably just needs a little bit of guidance, a little bit of extra help? And what drives that in you? Because I think, Bud, if I can describe you, you're that type of person. You know, build it up, never break it down, and I love you for that, my mate.
There you go. That's him.
Oh, Billy. Yeah, Billy.
What's he talking about?
Billy's a lovely character. I mean, as I said, we've been mates. I mean, my 2 longest mates ever in my life is Warren Jack.
Mm-hmm.
I met Warren when I think Warren was about 13 years old, so I've known him now for 47 years. He's been my good friend for 47 years. When he was 13 years old, Warren was such a good soccer player. He was too good to play with the under-13s.
Okay.
So Warren came to play with us in the under-17s.
Wow.
And of course, these 17-year-olds were like, what's this thing doing here? What's this little whippersnapper? So I took him under my wing and I said, hold on a second, this I can play. So that's where we became mates, because I took him under my wing. I said, you're not going to bully. You're not going to... He's going to play with us. And that's exactly what happened. That's one of myself became big mates from them. Okay. But Billy, and then the second one is old Billy, who I've been friends with since he was 9. So I turned 65 next month. Exactly a month ago. It's the 20th today, 20 February.
Wow.
20th of February, I turned 65.
Sure.
With a 9-year-old daughter.
Yes, I know. We was talking about
we will.
And you say 9 years. You're 9 years old. Your daughter's 9 years old.
Yeah.
You were 9 years old when you met your mom.
When I met Billy.
You know, 9 seems to be an age where things happen.
Yeah.
Like, I started with my music when I was 9 as well. I started playing drums. I started listening to music.
Yeah.
It's a watershed moment there, maybe.
Yeah, she said, yeah. So I think it's the first time I kissed a girl as well.
Oh,
when
really?
I was 9,
It's very, very young.
Yeah, no, it was young. It was choir practice.
As
Billy said.
The choir girls.
I'm only joking.
Those Methodists.
I'm only joking. The only girl I've ever kissed is my wife.
Of
my
course.
gorgeous wife.
Oh.
Sorry. So I've known them for the longest time, Billy and Warren. They're my closest mates. Now, Billy is also a great sports fanatic.
Okay.
Great sport. He loves his rugby sevens, and every year that we have the rugby sevens at Cape Town, Billy comes down from China, he hires a box, and he gets like 20 of us, and we go there.
Magic. I think Michelle Brown's into that sevens.
Yes, Michelle came to our box.
Yes,
it was Billy's box. Michelle came to Billy's box that time.
Brilliant.
And I've been I've done many trips with Billy. I've been over to the sevens in Hong Kong. It's greatest sporting event I've ever gone to was the Hong Kong sevens.
Really?
I've been to the Hong Kong sixes, Hong Kong sevens, and but the one thing about Billy is he is a bit of a bad luck omen for South African teams.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yeah.
So you
he goes every year. He goes to the Hong Kong sevens, and that's the only tournament South Africa's never won. And he always sends a message: Hong Kong sevens again. I'm saying, please don't go.
It's Billy.
Please don't go.
Please don't go. It's Billy.
Yeah, that's Billy. So, and we also went to watch the box at Twickenham.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Twickenham.
Wow. Okay.
It was at the time of Henry Honeyball and Gary Tashman. We had Springboks had won 17 games in a row.
And then Billy
we won the 18th. It was a world record. We were tied with New Zealand for the international wins in a row.
Yeah.
Or non-defeats. I'm not quite sure which one it was.
Yeah.
And we went there. Billy and I.
Yeah.
Freezing cold.
Yes.
Oh, brother. He said, let's get there early. Billy's always wants to get everywhere. He's in a rush all the time. Billy's like, let's get there early. Yes, we sit in the stands. Look, because I've got an overcoat on and scarves and everything. And we're sitting there. And in about the 75th minute, I think England, we had a forward pass or something, and England intercepted and they scored, and we lost. So that was it.
No.
The other good trip I did with Billy, 1999, World Cup cricket.
Yes.
We go to Birmingham to watch us play against Australia.
Yes.
Cricket side. So it was the tied game at the end, and we got kicked out on a technicality. When Alan Donald got run out with Lance Klusener.
Oh, run, Donald, run.
Run, Donald, run. Yes,
that's just terrible.
So I'm sitting there next to Billy, and we like nervous, and we tune, and the first 2 balls of the over that Klusener gets, he smacks for 4, and we need 1 run to win.
Yes.
So I say to him, Billy, just relax.
It's fine.
It's fine, we've done. But the bad luck, Billy, it happened again. We lost it. So Billy, stop going to all those tournaments.
Everybody remembers exactly where they were.
Yeah.
If you can, if you're online now, if you can remember where you were, right, where you were when Donald had to run. Because I was at St. Francis Golf Club, the one in the village. We were doing a gig there.
Yes.
And we were waiting before the gig. The gig was a disaster because everyone was so sad.
Everything was a disaster. We were staying in London. And so, but we had to get on a train from Birmingham to London to go back. And we were in a train load of Aussies. My word. We even had tickets for the final where Australia eventually played against Pakistan. We had the tickets for the final, and we just gave them away. We were so disappointed. The next day we took a tour around London, something, I'm not that tourist kind of guy, on the buses.
Oh yes, the London bus.
And that's that station, and that's the Thames, and that's
the open.
You know what?
Bus.
It was beautiful.
Yes.
It's the first time I've ever done it, and it was actually magnificent and made us relax. But when we got back to London, the Billy then hired a limo.
Oh, really?
And took us to a restaurant and we got totally smashed. So.
What you have to do.
Yeah, quite right.
But no, you know this.
Then he spoke about me back in the underdog.
Yeah.
And he spoke about a guy called Roger. When I lived in Cape Town, I had a mate, well, he wasn't really a mate, it was a guy that I knew from Port Elizabeth. His name was Roger.
Yes.
Roger King. Beautiful soul.
Okay.
But I wasn't really friends with him. Roger was lovely, and he heard I lived in Cape Town, and he knew I was from Port Elizabeth. So he phoned me and said, I'm coming to Cape Town. Can I come stay at your place a bit?
Okay.
Because I said, well, Roger, I've got a 2-bedroom flat, and I've got
Yeah.
Glenn staying, and I've got myself staying.
Yeah, you can sleep on the floor.
So Roger says, that's no problem, that's no problem, gosh. I just sleep wherever I can. Roger straight, I sleep wherever I can. So I said, well, it's difficult because I've got my brother sleeping on the couch in the lounge because my younger brother came to Cape Town as well. So anyway,
a house full of people.
Yeah, so I said, no, Roger, come. So we made a bed for Roger behind the couch in my lounge. So it's not a big place. There's 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, and a lounge dining room in Sea Point. That's the one that Billy could. He was across the road. He could straight into my bedroom. Billy was an early riser, and I was like, I just got home from Charlie Parker's at 3 in the morning. And I was working for the music industry there, and I only started work at 9. And like 8 o'clock in the morning, I got home from Charlie Parker's nightclub, and my phone's ringing.
And you have to get up to the phone.
No, it was lying next to my bed.
Oh, the cell phone.
No, it wasn't a cell phone in those days. You only had landlines. But I had a long extension, so it was next to my bed.
Oh, right.
Figure it out. Billy, Garth, I'm on my way to work. Don't you think you should get up? I said, get out of here, Billy! He could spy me from his balcony. So anyway, Roger King came to stay. And he lived behind my couch in my lounge. So, and Roger, he worked, at that stage, I was working in Belleville.
Okay.
And he worked in the southern suburbs. So for me, but I used to, every morning I'd drive Roger to work. He worked for penny pinchers in the southern suburbs with another PE guy. It was either Mark or Dave Charters. I can't remember which one it was.
Okay.
And I used to drive him there, and then every day drive back to my offices. And then after work, I'd go fetch Roger and bring him back. So he slept behind my couch. But it was supposed to be for a little while, but it ended up being a few months.
Oh, my word.
But poor old Rog, he couldn't afford to pay rent, and I never even asked him for rent. So he used to come home at the end of the month with a pot plant and say, I can't pay you anything. He has a pot plant.
You're grown old.
One time he gave me his running shoes that have all that. So I said, you can have the running shoes. So anyway, one of these nights we come home from Charlie Parker's, is about 2 o'clock in the morning. I bring a few friends with me, and we're entertaining. I put the music on, and it's getting a bit loud. We're sitting there having a drink, and next minute I'm with all these people. Next minute this head pops up from behind the couch. From the lying behind the couch. There's old Roger. Can you chill it down a bit? I'm trying to sleep. So I eventually had to move out of that flat.
All right.
So I could get rid of all the guys that had moved in there.
All the unluggers.
Oh, Roger,
But I mean, you've got a whole bunch. I mean, you must be the only frisbee champ that I've ever heard of in my entire life. What's the frisbee story?
That was also in Cape Town. I stayed right across the road from where the Sea Point swimming pool is.
Yes, I know the one.
And that big common, there's a big green there.
Yes.
And we used to play frisbee every Sunday. There was a game, and just used to throw frisbee to one another. And then what happened is in America, it became a sport.
Okay.
So there's you have 7 aside, and there's a field.
Yeah.
So you throw the frisbee to your teammate, he catches it, he's allowed 2 steps with the frisbee, and he's got to throw it to the other teammate. So it's like a mixture between netball, hockey, and soccer.
Okay.
And you score a goal like American football when you catch it in the in-goal area.
Oh, right. Okay.
So
that's a touchdown.
Yeah, it's a touchdown. Yeah.
Okay.
So next minute, Lenny Solomons, he came and watched us play there, and he's
Sea Point.
Yeah, Sea Point.
Lenny Solomons.
He came, and he had registered us as the Western Province Frisbee Association. So then we discovered that there was a South African Frisbee Association. So I got my colours. I got a tracksuit.
Yes, it?
Western Province Frisbee.
Western Province Frisbee, baby.
Yeah. And it was a great. I've never been fitter in my life.
Yeah.
Because I was at that stage, I was still playing cricket and soccer. And Sunday we used to play a bit of frisbee. And we went on a tour. We played against Transvaal Frisbee.
Yeah.
And then from Transvaal we went to Natal. We played a game against Natal in frisbee. So that was my frisbee career.
I love it. I mean, you said you keep fit now as well. I mean, you're looking fit.
Yeah, I am
do
fit.
you run or do you?
No, I don't do much. I
Really?
just eat well and drink well.
Are you like vegetarian or
No,
something?
not at all. I'm a huge carnivore.
Is it?
Yeah.
So but you eat a good balance.
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
your secret? Because you're looking good, man.
I don't eat gluten.
Oh, no gluten.
Yeah, like you look like Novak tonight, and Novak doesn't eat gluten.
Does he not eat gluten?
No,
either?
Novak in 2007 changed his whole diet. I mean, he was about rated 20th in the world, and he changed his diet. He wanted to become the best in the world, and gluten was the first thing he gave up. So, but I got very sick at one stage.
Okay.
They found out that it was gluten that caused my illness.
Really?
Yeah.
And it really worked.
Yeah.
Because I always think like people say, I got the gluten intolerance, but then
but it became fashionable after.
Yes, it becomes fashionable.
Yes, yeah. Before that, it was something else, you know.
Yeah. So gluten and you know that's because you really looking fit.
I was actually speaking to my wife the other day, and I said I've got to do a lot more exercise because I need to get a bit fitter than what I am. But you know what? We've got a trampoline. Yeah. On Tuesday, that wind came up.
Yes.
It was a hot day like today.
Hectic.
And I got home from work about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and the trampoline was in the pool. Got blown in. But what I want to do is I stretch. I try and stretch most days, but I don't always get to it. But what I want to do is just go jump up and down on the trampoline about 1,000 times a day. It does nothing.
Yeah.
It's not hard work, but it keeps every muscle working and exercise. But
it's a good thing. So get it out of the pool. Let's see, Elmarie's talking about your only have vaccinated people on the show. Anti-vaxxers.
Yeah.
You know, we won't even go there.
No, not at all.
We're not even going to go there because it's going to be a whole mudslinging match in the
absolutely.
comments. Let's have a look at some of the comments.
As I always said to my wife, everything's about timing.
Yeah.
And that's not
time. It's not the time. It's probably right for now.
Right, yeah.
Fanny Tehran says, how's about China's all the way from China?
Fanny, he's got a restaurant in China. He worked with me in Joburg, and then he went and it's called something Waffle Jacks, American Diner, and he did very well in London.
Fanny running an American Diner.
Yeah. Great guy, and then he went to China and he opened up.
Okay, well, is he opened a pop and place?
No, also Waffle Jacks.
Waffle Jacks, because you think
Samantha Rousseau,
there's shirts haven't changed.
Old friend that we used to jawl in Joburg.
Kathy Marsh.
Hello, Kathy.
She's a regular on the show as well. Jorg Rodriguez.
Georgie.
Oh, is it Georgie?
Porter.
Is it Portuguese?
Lovely. Georgie's a bowler.
Oh, is it?
Not that type of bowler. It's that type of bowler.
Oh, so in other words, he's a drinker.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Call them white ants.
George. No, look, I've just done a wedding. I just came back from a wedding on the weekend in Klerksdorp with a whole bunch of Porters.
Yeah.
So it was a Musa Porter wedding there.
Ooh.
Then Dean Butter saying love.
Yeah.
Your outfit. She likes your outfit, and you're quite the fashion. You were a model, eh?
Yeah, well, I was like a
schmodel, he described it as.
No, well, you know, my wife was the real model. My wife did very well with her modelling career. She owned a modelling company in Johannesburg, and she did some modelling in Germany and Spain, and that's
okay.
Wow. But I was what you call a character model.
Yes, and what is that?
So if they want someone that looks like they've been hit on the nose by Kali Klutzer, they'd pick someone like me because, you know, I was going to get the operation done, but Marion Roberts couldn't do the scaffolding and what have you. So
yes.
But I did do quite a few TV ads.
Okay.
Modelling and.
Which TV ads did you do?
I did. I tell you, I did a great one. It was for Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah.
They came out with their chicken burger.
Oh, right. Yes, they're rounder.
They're rounder.
Kentucky
and so,
rounder.
so it was like a 3-day shoot.
Oh.
And what I had to do was like on the TV ads, you know, the dance and things like that.
So they pick a dancer slash model.
Yeah, so we did that, and then I did one for Castle Light. I also did Castle itself. Yeah, but the one that went all over South Africa, it was massive billboards all over South Africa, was for Benson and Hedges cigarettes.
Yes, was it Fires that was talking about the Benson? Casey told about your Benson and Hedges ad.
Yeah. We did that. Jeez, that was all over. I mean, I think that thing was shot in about 1992.
Yeah.
And when I went to London, I took a whole group of guys to London when I was in the flooring industry with Van Dyke carpets, and there was a guy called Leon Dirksen.
Yeah.
That came with us. So we took all our retailers as suppliers. Yeah. We took them to London.
Jeez.
And this Leon Dirksen, beautiful man from the Free State. I don't think he'd ever left Bloemfontein before. He arrived in London in the middle of January with 2 t-shirts kind of scenario. And he was about 3 times myself. He played prop for Free State.
Yeah, those are the guys.
Yeah, so anyway, he got there and he was bitterly cold. So I gave him my overcoat, you know. I was slightly I weighed about 10 kilos more than I do now. Yeah. But still, the thing I only fitted into. Yeah. So we got to London and we know. Sitting down in the restaurant, and he's never been anywhere in his life. He's like this.
Speaking delicious English.
So anyway, after the cheers, we're in this restaurant, and what are liver and onions and mash.
Really?
So that's what I order. I say, Leon, what you do like? He says, no, whatever you have.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know.
Okay, come alive.
So we sit down, we have this liver and onions, and there's a sugar bowl. There's old sugar bowls. Remember, you should get the wimpy with the spout there.
Yes, sugar. Yeah.
So Leon says, soek 'n bietjie sout. So I give him the sugar bowl. He throws it on.
Oh my God.
So anyway, to get back to the Benson and Hedges ad, he eventually got transferred from Bloemfontein to Durban, which is the Van Dyke head office. Yeah. And he phones me one day. He says, hey, Garth.
Yes, Garth.
I said, yes, that's 2 F's. Huh? Yes. I said, hey, Garth. He says, I just drove over you. I said, what you talking about? He says, no, Garth, I just drove over you on the highway here. He says, they've got a big billboard of you. And it's blown over. They've got a hurricane. And it's blown over and it's lying on the highway. And it was the Benson and Hedges ad, and he drove over me.
Magic. So Benson Hedges, so that was also a cricket at that time was huge.
That's very much
Sean Pauls, there we go, he's online. Sean, we were just talking about you just now. So you were the oak with also the pointy shoes dancing. First saw Garth and Neil DJ at the Ritz as a 14-year-old in the early 80s, which inspired me to get into DJing. Rest is history. Absolutely, because
absolutely.
Sean, a legendary DJ in his own right.
No, quite right.
Yeah, David Payton, there we go. An ex-warmer cricketer, fast bowler. Only problem is that his run-up was faster than him.
I always say, as Bryce said, when people ask me, how you played cricket, you played with this, how good were you? I said, geez, I was the most accurate bowler, always hit the middle of the bat. I mean, you can't get better than that.
And Fires is out there as well. Jennifer Lindridge.
Hello, Jennifer.
She is an absolute honey. I love Jennifer.
Indeed.
She's such a breath of fresh air whenever she's around. Atari saying, how's it?
Hi, Daddy. That's from Ruby, my daughter. Hello, Ruby.
Now, tell me about Ruby as well, because this is a child now. She's 9 years old. You're 64?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but
it's taken a while.
Yeah, but you know what they say, that you cannot... I spoke to Mick Jagger about it.
Yes, and Mick Richards.
Yeah, Mick Jagger said to me, you know, Garth, you can't get rock star status until you've had a child over the age of 55. So that was... No, Ruby's actually a very beautiful story. My wife and I, we tried for a long time to have a child. And... she had 2 ectopic pregnancies, which means the baby goes to the wrong place. It was in the tube, so she had one, and then one, today and then a year later in the same time.
Oh, man.
So what happens that she can't have birth naturally, so we did about 8 or 9 in vitros.
Yeah.
And
those are expensive, those things as well.
She's like,
it's insane.
It probably cost us about $1 million to try and have a child through in vitro. We went to Cape Town, we did it in Port Elizabeth, we got some people from Bloemfontein and what have you. And so it just didn't work. So we discussed it and we said, well, maybe we're just not meant to have a baby. And as a man, I just said, I want my child. Like this. And then
the ego is there.
The ego is there. I wanted my child to look like my wife because she's beautiful. Not like me. So anyway, we'd given up for about a year or two, and it had taken 10, 12 years, this whole process. Yeah. Maybe even longer. No, much longer, actually, to be honest. It was probably 20 years, the whole drawn out. So
yeah.
And then eventually Atari came to me one day and said, Garth, I cannot live without a child.
Yeah.
So we went to an adoption agency, and it's not an agency, it's a woman that works for hospitals.
Okay, yes.
And we went there, social worker.
Yeah,
social worker. Social worker, a very lovely girl called Linda. And we went and we said, no, we want to adopt.
Yeah.
So what happens when you need to adopt a child? You have to give a portfolio or a resume or CV of what you're all about.
And your CV wasn't looking great,
No, not at all.
Lucky you got your wife with you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so Atari made a beautiful album. We've still got it. It's absolutely magnificent. So Atari's very artistic, very good with her hands. She's good with machines.
Okay.
And she's good with horrible men like me.
Yeah.
And she did this, and we went, the social worker, we presented this whole thing. So we went to speak to her.
Yes.
And she said, well, you must do this thing. And about a month or two afterwards, we were very fortunate, very, very blessed.
Yeah.
In that Linda phoned Atari and said, we've got a match.
Oh, wow.
Because the birth parents have the say as to who gets the child.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And we've got a match, and this is the story. And so that was, we saw the social worker in July, and the 1st of February, Ruby was born in 2013. Jeez. And we got a call from the social worker at about 1:30 in the morning.
Yo!
And so at 1:30 in the morning, and Linda phoned Atari and says, Atari?
Yeah.
It's Shevaka.
Shevaka?
1:30. Of course you're awake. Yes, 1:30. No, Garth's still at the club. So, and we went to the hospital, and we're so blessed. We've got an absolutely magnificent child, and our house has now been, we have friends and mates and everything. It's full.
It's full.
But all the time. Our place is now like a railway station with all our friends and that. So we're very, very blessed and so happy. Yeah, so happy.
So often these stories end with just depression and stuff because and I've heard so many stories about the in vitro and stuff being so difficult as well. And so it's really are blessed to have something.
Yeah, no, very much so. And it's, what is so difficult? It's so difficult for the woman. Because what happens when you do in vitro, they inject hormones and things into you, so it makes you feel that your cycle is changing. So, Atari would say, I feel like I'm pregnant now.
Yeah.
I feel like it's this time it's there.
It's
and it must be so.
And you've got all the hope.
Yeah, you've got all the hope.
And it's nothing.
Geez, we're blessed. Old Ruby just started grade 3 at Clarendon yesterday.
Wow.
So
Clarendon Park.
Yeah, what a great school. Didn't you go to Clarendon Park?
I was there. I absolutely love Clarendon Park.
Did Miss Hammond teach you?
Yes, she was there. Yeah, she arrived after, but she was while I was there. She arrived. Yeah, she taught my brother. Pat.
Yeah, Pat. Her family and my family, my mother and father and her mother and father were big mates. So I made Pats, and she was.
Somebody take Pat Hammett as well. Yeah. She's got to look after this little one that's coming through there. Alvin Reeves. God, my boy, does Atari know you're wearing a shirt?
Alvin, it's not hers, it's your wife's.
Alvin was my head boy at
VB. I played cricket with Alvin.
Quick bowler, very nice, quick bowler.
Well, when he played, cricket when I played with him, he certainly wasn't a quick bowler.
Oh, is he not quicker?
No.
He's got to get into it again. Alvin, you got to get yourself in shape.
Yeah, no.
There we go.
Yeah.
Dave Pittaway says Josh Mason.
So Josh must be watching. So Dave Pittaway is telling Josh he must be working on the quotes. Darby!
I met Dave Pittaway about a week ago or something.
Yeah, okay. He stays just around the corner here.
Yeah, he's around. No, good
his
chap.
His wife does the art.
Okay.
Surely, yes, she's the artist too.
And Samantha Russo saying, I remember the Simply Red concert.
One of the best concerts I've ever been to.
Really?
I love that guy's got such a magnificent
Minister
voice.
South Dementia.
Yeah, it's a beautiful voice.
Good,
yes, I do remember. Samantha, I've actually seen them 3 times live now.
Really?
Yeah. I just love his voice. Yeah.
Manchester-based, I think those guys.
Not the prettiest guy in the world.
No. He wasn't.
A little bit jazzy boring, man.
A little bit jazzy boring, says.
Yeah, I agree. There's certain times. Timing. It's all about timing.
Yeah. I mean, some days when you watch them on live, it's a different story.
Yeah.
Their
albums is always different.
The albums, but live, wow! You watch that band, and then they are cooking.
No, I've been to a lot of live concerts. So yeah.
Angelita's watching from Auckland.
Yes. Hello, Ange.
Is Auckland anywhere near the explosion? I don't think that
in New Zealand.
Yeah,
did something happen?
It was Tonga, I think, or
was it Tonga?
Was it Tonga?
Not Papua New Guinea.
No. It was there was, I think, part of New Zealand actually you could feel that shockwave.
Oh, really?
Michelle Kelly says also love the daily inspirational quotes on the boards. You do that.
Yes.
So just I mean, do you go every morning and do that?
Well, no, I don't write it, but that all started with my wife as well when the Websters Flooring opened it in the late 90s, and Tori's decided, she's very artistic, Tori, and she decided that we should have this blackboard and write something on it. And it was, so when she started, I was writing on the blackboard. I was then general manager for Human Golf Club. Jeez, I've done a lot of things.
Yes, as well. You were golf manager.
I was general manager for Human Golf Club, and she started writing on the board. And one of her favourites was buy one carpet, get one flea. Because fleas hide in carpets. And we had a lovely Chinese lady come there and say, "What for flea?" That's a true story. So, but it's just grown from there on in, and it's a daily task that I've got to look at. I mean, tomorrow morning I've got to actually wake up, if I don't think of it tonight, check the newspaper, start thinking. It's a bit like being a copywriter. I always, maybe I should have been a copywriter at some stage. So you've got to have something fresh and interesting. And thank you very much. And we do get a lot of feedback from all those.
Yeah, they're loving it. They're loving it. Absolutely. Yeah. And I see, Gary wants to know your favourite live concert.
A very good friend of mine, Mark Tellinger.
Yes.
Mark Tellinger is a good musician.
Yeah.
There was a
band. Guitar.
The band in the 80s was Sterling and Tellinger.
Okay.
Now, Sterling and Tellinger was probably one of the first boy bands in South Africa.
Oh, really?
They released about 5 albums, and Michael's also done about 6 solo albums. He's in Joburg. He now stays up in Waterval, Boven, or something like that.
Somebody tag him.
Yeah, Michael's into the Ubuntu movement. One town, he wants people to live in Ubuntu, and he discovered all the runes. Yeah. Like the Zimbabwe runes in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
He's discovered this in America, in the Eastern Transvaal on the mountains, where you've got these perfect circles and everything's 10 meters apart. And geez, it's magnificent. That's what he's based his life on. He used to be a pharmacist. But
bit of a hippie.
Yeah, but not so much a hippie, just a person of the earth. Yeah, but he's travelled the world now and giving talks about all this and the resonance and the sounds that rocks make and healing properties of gold and
crystals and
stuff. So anyway, Deep Purple, Uriah Heep.
Oh yeah.
Come to Johannesburg, and I'm like, Deep Purple, Uriah Heep. I had that in the 70s. I was a big fan, and Michael was as well, and so Michael was a musician. I tell you what, I took my wife with there. We weren't married at the time.
Yeah.
What a concert! Uriah Heep. Well, Deep Purple, from a technical and a musicianship point of view, Deep Purple were much.
Well, they were tighter, but they were playing with Steve Morse. At that time, I think Steve Morse from
yes,
Steve Morse band was playing.
Ian Gillan was still singing.
Yeah, it wasn't Richie Blackmore, but it was.
It
was Steve Morse was playing guitar, and he is a phenomenal guitar player.
Unbelievable, unbelievable, and that concert was just, to me, was magnificent.
Yeah,
and we sang along, Michael and I, to every
song.
Every song. Uriah Heep and Michael can sing, I can't sing.
Yeah.
So we were hoarse for about 2 days after, and what a concert! What a concert! It was just absolutely magnificent. But I've seen a lot. I've seen Via Con Dios, Shack Attack, so all sorts of odds and ends. You know, I've got a
Shack Attack.
Yeah, Shack Attack.
No wonder he likes Simply Red. If he likes Shack Attack.
Shack Attack was one of the artists on our record label. So
I can't listen to a lot of Shack Attack.
I can't listen to it anymore.
He likes Earth, Wind and Fire.
No, I can't listen to Earth, Wind and Fire anymore.
No, I like Earth, Wind and Fire. But Shack Attack is something else.
Boogie Wonderland.
Boogie Wonderland. I see Keith Garth Clark at a comment up there. Just have a quick squiz there. He says Garth and Tori took my boys to the beach in New Year's while we stayed at the Whites in La Roche Drive right through. Our boys were in love for months with the Tori. What a night. Oh, my word.
Jeez, Tori, what did you do that night?
Yeah, in love because she's so beautiful, obviously.
No. Yes, that was a hell of a night. I remember that night very well, Casey.
Oh, my word. Real men don't drink pink drinks.
Real men don't wear pink shirts either.
Yeah, no.
Only real men can drink pink drinks and wear pink shirts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I haven't got a pink drink.
Cheers, Glenn.
No, you're talking about getting horse, but tell us about horses, because racehorse.
Racehorse. Yeah, that's a nice story. so anyway, we've got a few mates up in Johannesburg, and one of them, Liam Kundle, is getting married to Tracy, and the wedding's in Greece.
Okay.
Now, Tracy's father was CEO of a minerals and sort of company that in London.
Okay.
It used to, all these minerals, I forget the other word now.
Yeah.
They used to transport these minerals in the freighters owned by a Greek shipping magnate.
Gemstones or
No, it's minerals and iron ore and all that sort of thing. He moved stuff from all over the world and
gold
and transporting freighters and this. So what happened when Tracy heard this guy's daughter got married, our friend, to Liam? Yeah. The guy that owned all these Greek freighters was a guy called Banyagis.
Yeah, there's good Greek.
And he owned a yacht of about 54 meters. Okay, and
so he was sickling for a bit of cash.
Certainly, he owned half an island, Zakynthos in Greece.
Like beyond Borg.
So he was a bit like Onassis, basically.
Yeah, so Aristotle
Onassis. So we go over to Greece, we fly over to Greece, there's 6 couples, we're going on this yacht, 12 of us on the yacht, we each got our own cabin, and we've got, on the yacht are 2 speedboats.
Living their life.
On cranes.
Holy moly.
A helipad, or a staff of 7.
Yes, Garth organising this stuff.
So anyway, the bridegroom, Liam Kundle, his father wrote, I think it was John Kundle, he wrote The Villages. I don't know if you remember.
Yes, absolutely.
Liam was also in the
70s TV.
He's an actor as well, Liam himself, and he did the Cobra Taps advert. I don't know if you remember the bunch. It was in the 80s, 90s.
It's like ringing a vague bell somewhere.
The other one was Neil Sundstrom, who's a director in the movie industry. Neil, he's still doing that. And so we all fly over to Greece, and they get married on the yacht, and they take the 2 speedboats down, and they put awnings over the cranes and that's where you get married. But Yagis now, as a ship's captain, is entitled, authorized to marry them. And I remember Payagis when he came on there, and it's like he was a bit of a lecherous old Greek.
A bit touchy-feely.
He fell in love with my wife, you know. Although my wife and I weren't married at the time. So Payagis came out, and we got this audience now, and the bridal couple are standing, and Payagis came out, and he slipped on a bit of a wet spot on the yacht. and laid underneath the brownie, looking like this. So anyway, we're there, and I was speaking about my family history as we got to know each other very well too. We spent 2 weeks on the sea, sailing around Greece. And and I gave a bit of my background that I was from a horse family. Like my mother's father, my grandfather was a racehorse trainer, Herman Brown, in Durban, and then my uncle, my mom's sister, Herman Brown's also, and my cousin now, Herman Brown, he now trains in Dubai, I think, still. I haven't spoken to him for a while. On my father's side, my grandfather was a bookkeeper. A bookmaker, sorry, not a bookkeeper, a bookmaker for taking bets. Bookie. So but I wasn't a big fan of gambling because my dad was also a professional gambler. And he used to work on the side. Professional gambling was his thing. And
it's dangerous.
Yeah, so as a professional gambler, 1 week you have caviar, the next week you have baked beans. So I just thought
it's tough, eh?
No, absolutely. So I just thought that that wasn't for me. So anyway, we're speaking about this on this yacht in Greece. And it was 1994, the time of the World Cup in Italy, I think. I think Italy might have won the soccer.
Yeah, we won the soccer that year. They won the soccer that year, of course.
And we were speaking, and so Neil said, no, his father had racing colours and that. When we get back to South Africa, let's buy a horse, a racehorse. And I say, as you do when you're on holiday and you're browning in the sun, and sun only goes,
sounds like
the sun goes down at 10 o'clock. But this yacht was magnificent. She's at 54 meters. At that stage, it was the biggest yacht in the Adriatic. So every time we dock into a new port or a new island, the people would just like
come in. Yes, sir.
From that town or from other yachts to see who's the
celebrity.
Who are these celebrities? So we used to give everybody a chance.
Who is this Garth Webster?
That wasn't me, man. So anyway, so we decided to buy a horse. So we come back to Joburg, and the 2-year-old sales are in August. And the 2-year-old sales with racehorses, it's ready to run.
Is that the one ready to go?
Ready to run. It's not 1 year where you've got to... So we go there, and they give you a book about this thing, a catalogue of all the horses for sale.
It's good. So telling you everything about them.
The 4 of us. Liam, Neil, Andrew, myself.
You're the guy buy horse. Because we just been on the yacht.
So anyway, we go there and we start looking at these horses. Lot number 1 to lot number 272. So they auction each horse. We go over and look at it. I really don't know what we're looking for. So anyway, we saw this horse, and it was like sprat. It was jumping like it's on hot coals, it was dancing. Like a hot coals that had 2 grooms holding it, and there was another groom sitting on his back, and it was like, So they give you a history. I still remember, it was lot number 54. And they give you a history of the sire and the dam, and it was Del Sartre, Del Sartre was the father, and Art Nouveau was the...
Art Nouveau.
was the... So we decided, we want to buy this horse.
Yes, of course.
It looks lekker.
This one looks lekker.
It looks nice. So we sat and we chatted, and then we go inside, and it's the auction, and our budget's 15,000. We got 15,000 rand in 1994, quite a lot of money.
It's a lot of money then.
So we go there. It's Neil, Garth, Liam, Andrew, and I forgot his name. Eric Summerstrand, Neil's brother. He knows a bit about horses.
So he was actually your go-to guy.
So he knows a bit about horses. So we got a budget of 15,000. 13,000, 14,000, we go. 15,000, the auctioneer goes, going. And somebody says, 16,000 rand. And we say, these guys next to me go, it's a shame we've lost out, there's nothing. Now we've lost our horse. So I tap Neil because he's sticking his hand. Let's go 17,000.
Right.
So Neil goes, 17,000. Going, gone.
17 grand.
17 grand. So Liam next to me says, who bought it? So I said, no, we did. I said, we bought this horse. So anyway, after the auction,
more.
For 2 grand more. It was a lot of money in those days. So after the auction, what you've got to do, we didn't know, we had to go pay for the horse. So we got pay our money for the horse. We found the extra $2,000 somewhere. Everyone getting this stuff. I found $2,000. Yeah, we got $17,000 for the horse.
Because it's 4 times 4, so each year you're going to put in another 500.
250 rand.
Yeah.
Your maths wasn't a big subject.
4 times 4 is 70. No, it's got 60.
So anyway, so here we go. Now we bought this horse. Now we paid for it. So the auctioneer says, well, who are you sending this horse to?
Yeah.
We're like, oh yeah. What are we going to do now? We can't take it home now. So we can't take this horse home. We've got to find. So I say, what do you mean? So no, which trainer you see them? Oh no, we haven't thought that far. But I don't want to be ignorant. So I just turn the guys around and I say, what are we going to do? So old Neil Sundstrom, he says, oh, there's Ormond Ferraris. He's the best trainer in South Africa. I'm going to go speak to him. So I come up and go with him. So Neil says, Mr. Ferraris, he says, we've just bought this horse called Secret Brother.
Yeah.
Will you come have a look at it for us?
Yeah.
So Ormond Ferraris says, yes, certainly, my boy. Comes there. Now this horse is a prime, beautiful.
Looking nice, eh?
Beautiful. And Mr. Ferraris goes there. Ormond, he stands there and looks at this horse. Walks up and down. Feels its behind, feels its neck, feels its forequarters. Taps. I mean, my father knew everything about horse. My father, we went to many Durban Julys, but I wasn't interested.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I used to organise marquees at the Durban July for when I was living in Joburg for all the people. So, all people.
Another job.
Yeah, no, well, that was just entertainment. So, massive. We used to have 200 people in my marquee. It was wonderful. But anyway, so now he feels it and gets into the sauce.
Checking the horse.
Checks it, he feels
Teeth.
Everything. Yeah. Lifts the gums. I said, geez, I don't think that horse has brushed its teeth. So I turn around to Neil and I said, geez, it looks like we've bought an absolute dud. You know, the way he's looking at it. There's no smile, no approval, nothing, anything like this. And I said, so he says, geez, you know, he says, Ormond Ferraris, he says, I watched this horse's half-sister win a race in Durban yesterday.
Oh.
You can send it to my stables.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
he was in.
So he was in. Sent the horse to the stables. I think it cost us about 1,700 rand a month for stabling and whatever.
Oh, good.
Okay, so now we're going to pay.
You pay again.
Anyway, this horse turned out to be an absolute champion.
Wow.
It won 6 races in its 18-month racing career.
No,
it became the favourite for the RGN or the OK Gold Bowl as it was known in those days. And it ran against London News, which is probably the greatest horse ever to come out of South Africa.
Okay.
London News won in Hong Kong.
Wow.
It ran fourth to London News in the Cape Derby in Cape Town. So it raced in Cape Town, it raced in Durban, it raced in Johannesburg. We won 6 races. We each made quite a bit. We each made probably about 150 grand over the.
Whoa!
So it was So it was just an absolute fluke.
4,250 rand
each
investment.
Yeah, there we go. So it was wonderful. And
you see, so riding on a boat and then getting drunk and then deciding to buy a horse is not a bad thing.
We had fun. We had fun with that horse. You go watch it race and to see your horse winning. I mean, the adrenaline rush. It's like jumping out of an aeroplane. I jumped out of an aeroplane as well.
Tell me about that too.
Sure.
Do that too.
The adrenaline rush is just absolutely magnificent watching your horse win a race.
Imagine. I mean, you put everything into this. You got money there.
Unfortunately, it ran second in the OK Gold Bowl. It was the favourite.
Oh, wow.
It should have won it.
Get boxed in or something.
No, what
do they do? Those jockeys.
So anyway, they got 300 metres to go.
Yes.
And Secret Brother hits the front and it's all over now. There's nothing going to catch Secret Brother. And the jockey changed the whip in front of the horse's eyes. The horse ducked away, loses 3 lengths. Mosiah runs past. Our guy gets back. The finishing line's here. Mosiah wins by that much. The next stride over the finish line, our horse.
Bugger!
I would have won 850,000 rand on that day.
Yes! Like that. I feel like I bought the horse myself.
Yeah, I've got all the videos, I've got all the photos as well of the 6 wins. But 6 wins is unusual because I know people that own 20 horses and they've never won a race.
I never won.
Over 20. Yeah.
Oh, that's phenomenal. That is so cool. That is really so cool. Now, I guess,
jumping out of aeroplane.
Yeah. Tell me about
Jeez,
that. I mean, obviously,
1993.
Adventure maniac.
Sure. Well,
extreme sports.
Living on the edge, as they say.
Frisbee. Leading into.
So, a good friend of mine, Vinka, bless her soul, she passed away recently. She was also in the music industry. Her father was a movie director as well in Johannesburg. And she was a skydiver.
Oh, wow.
So Billy, from China, and myself, we decide, and we're going to go jump out of an aeroplane now with Vinka. So we drive up from Johannesburg to Wonderboom. And as we get into the airfield in Wonderboom, on the radio comes Tom Petty's song.
Free
learning to fly. Free falling. Free falling comes on. And what they do there, they give you a course for about 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
And they tell you what to do when you jump out the plane. So what we do is we jump on a static line. So it's 4 or 5 hours of course, because Billy, his girlfriend, myself, and I can't remember, and Vinka was there obviously. She'd done about 50 jumps at that stage.
That's crazy stuff.
So it's like you feel like they give you this thing, and then this plane is Pilatus, it's got struts under the wings.
Yeah.
And when it lands, from other people having jumped, you've got to run after with your parachute on your back. You've got to run. The plane doesn't stop because it wastes too much gas, petrol.
Okay.
So you run jumping. So it's like like you're in the war in Vietnam. And you see those things, the guys are running, jumping. Go. And they line us up. And Billy's girlfriend at that stage was a girl called Jet.
Yeah.
Her nickname was Jet. Okay. And you kneel.
Strange, that.
Yeah, you kneel. Strange being up in the aeroplane. And you kneel like this on the floor and you go forward. And it's Jet, Billy, and myself. And as the first person jumps, you kneel, go for it. And as I looked out the window. Yeah. And there goes Jet flying in the air past me. Front and side. I think I was about like 28 years old. I can't remember how old I was then. And I just thought to myself, I've had a good life. If this is the end, that's the end. I've had a good life. Yeah. So anyway, you jump from 10,000 feet. And what they do is you have the parachute and you've got toggles.
Yeah.
And they teach you that when the parachute, some of the cells don't.
You say toggles like pieces of rope.
No, you hold and you steer.
And you pull.
Steer, yeah. Okay. So but first thing you've got to do is you've got to check that all the cells, there's like 32 cells or 16 cells, they're all open. So you jump out you get out the aeroplane and you put your hand as far as you can on the strut under the wing.
Oh, okay,
Under the wing, and then you grab that and you jump out and you put your other hand on the other strut. And you hang like this, and then you count 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Yeah. They cut the line and off you go. Like this, and I check up and I check it's a bit twisted, the lines are twisted, so
holy crap,
they teach you kick your legs like this, like a swing. You swing the other way, so you
untangle yourself.
You untangle yourself, and then you pull the toggles to open those flaps that are like this.
No.
And you look up and now everything's okay. So now I've been traveling in the air felt like, I don't know how long, probably about 10 seconds that it took me to do all this. And then you look down.
Okay.
My word. All you see is like when you go land at an airport, you look out the window where you land, you see swimming pools and houses. And all I see is swimming pools and houses. Yeah. And I couldn't see the airfield where you're supposed to. Eventually I spot the airfield. Okay. So you've got to maneuver yourself to the airfield. But when you stand against a building, you look down from 20 stories up, you can judge the distance. Yeah. When you're in mid-air with nothing else but just you and air between you, you can't judge. Yeah. So I landed outside the airfield in a horse paddock. Outside the airfield.
Oh, my soul.
And then I had to walk about 2 kilometers back to the airfield. So I always say I did
2 Ks.
Yeah,
that's a big miss.
I did a triathlon. I did a 10,000 foot jump, a 50 meter horse ride, and a 2K walk.
But that's crazy.
Yeah, and then I stopped. After the third jump, I broke my wrist.
Oh, jeez.
I was trying to get too clever as a rookie.
Oh,
and
right.
so I broke, and then I stopped doing skydiving.
Okay. So no more
skydiving.
wild skydiving stuff.
Absolutely.
And I mean, there's the Great Wall of China. Did you go and crawl up that or something as well?
No, so yes. No. What happened is that we
Where
went out with the cricket sixes.
Oh, okay.
So we went to the Great Wall of China.
So I mean, all these freaking wild adventure stories. Where did they come from? Okay, so the cricket sixes.
Yeah, we went to play cricket sixes in China, and at Rasi and Luke Fairweather, rest in peace, my good friend.
Okay.
Putting one of our mates on the tour,
and
we went and climbed the Great Wall of China. Magnificent thing. Magnificent.
I would love to do that.
I mean, I think the Great Wall of China must be about 5,500 kilometers, maybe more. So it's like Joburg to Cape Town and back 4 times, basically.
It's amazing.
That's how long it is. I mean, dynasties lived and died at the Great Wall of China. It was, but just to be able to have done that, what an awesome experience.
But are you so you were a bit of a you didn't mind taking a chance. Now it's a different story. Now is it because of the children?
Yeah, they're quite right. And my wrist is quite not well, but I managed to play golf with it still. So that's the most dangerous sport I play these days is golf.
Oh man, well I think we're coming to the end of our interview here, and I normally do questions for our guests, or asking kind of your most embarrassing moment, or your moment that something's gone completely wrong. And then your proudest moment as well.
Okay.
So
sure. Most embarrassing moment?
Yeah.
Golden Takkie.
Oh, yeah?
The disco.
Yes.
So, we're at the Golden Takkie, we have a jaw, we closed down, and then after that we went to some other nightclub that was open after ours. Yeah. We go, and then we all go to my mate Ricky Manners' flat, and we have a party. Now, I'm dressed. Golden Takkies, golden satin pants, cream satin shirt with mother of pearl buttons on it.
Oh my God! Cream satin with mother of pearl.
Yeah.
That's night fever, baby.
Yeah, there we go. So, and it's now. I've got to go open the bowling for Warmer at about 10:30. Yeah. And I end up staying at Ricky's place on his sleeping bag because there was a massive party. And I wake up late at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
So I've got to rush up Cape Road to go to my house.
Get
all my
rights.
kit, have a bit of brekkie if I can.
Yes. Get to the
my rush, it's now 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning in Cape Road.
Yeah.
Where Cape Road meets Conningham, that's traffic lights.
Yes, that's right there at the Medicross.
And I'm dressed like this.
Okay.
In this night fever gear.
Gold.
Yeah, gold.
Gold, baby.
Yeah.
Gold!
And in my rush, I drive into the back of somebody.
Oh no! Oh, that just sucks.
So I was embarrassed. Now, first of all, to drive into the back of someone, but now I've got to get out of my car in this gear in the middle of Cape Road, in this gear like this. Jeez, so that's embarrassing.
Yes. If anybody's going to do it, then you're going to pull it off.
So I'm hesitating to get out.
Yeah.
So it was a combi that I drove into.
Oh dear.
So
that's the engine at the back.
This little guy, short guy, gets out of his combi, and I open my window. In those days you had wind-up windows.
Yes, of course.
I open my window like this, and he walks up to me. He says, "I'm not happy." I said, "So which one are you?"
No, short guy, you.
I said,
that's gonna be a winner. I'll bet you he loves
so which one are you? So, but anyway, I don't think he understood what I was saying. But we cleared it, but it was I was really embarrassed because I thought, geez, I am stuck here. I'm supposed
to. And now you're talking cuck to him as well.
No, absolutely.
Full of shit after a night out.
No, absolutely. What was
proudest moment?
Sure, proudest moment, I think Ruby, my daughter.
Yeah,
that's the proudest moment. Ruby makes me proud every day.
Look, they always say their children, Gary.
I think that's the proudest moment. Also winning that soccer tournament in Cape Town.
Yes.
I was lucky enough to win 5 Premier Leagues cricket one in Cape Town, a couple in Port Elizabeth, and a couple in Johannesburg.
Cricket and soccer. We've got a bit of a theme going because we've got Gavin Cowley coming on as well on Tuesday next week as well.
Also a grey boy.
Yeah. What Garth has not done, a fossil of our time, says Duncan.